How we doing, guys? Eman here, and in today's audio blog, we're going to be talking about how to deal with big losses in trading. Now, the ideal scenario is to avoid big losses altogether, but as we know, that's pretty difficult to do. So what we're going to be talking about is how to actually mentally deal with those losses after the fact once they've happened. And whether you're new or experienced in trading, you're going to run into a big loss at least once in your career. And, it's not your fault. We're only human. We're not robots. We're all bound to make emotional errors sometimes. And that's just part of the game. That's part of trading. So, what I want to talk about now is how to actually mentally deal with those losses and move forward so you can continue trading your edge consistently without any emotions, without any thoughts, without dwelling on the past, dwelling on your losses, and so that you can, get right back on track and, start making consistent money again. So let's dive right into it. And we're going to start talking about the psychology right after you take a big loss and what's going on in your brain at that moment. So let's say you're wrapping up your trading day and you're staring at your screen and you see this big red number staring right back at you. Now, this could have come about from over trading, maybe you took too much size, or maybe you just didn't stop out of a trade and added to a loser and just let it go way beyond your stop. And now you're down maybe weeks worth of profits. So, how it came about is not really important. What's important here is how it's affecting you emotionally in a negative way. And it's really important moving forward from here that you don't dwell on this and you're able to move forward. Otherwise, this big red day could just snowball effect and you could just trade very poorly the next few days or the next few weeks or even the next few months if you let this red day really, get into your head and, screw up your mentality. So the key here is to really just take a step back, look at what you did wrong, as I mentioned, whether it was over trading, maybe you weren't trading your strategy, or maybe you just got stubborn on a trade and, added to a loser or whatever. You really need to figure out what went wrong, first of all. You need to accept that you took the loss, accept it, it's over, it's done. There's nothing you can do that day. It's over, just move on. And now you need to move forward with a clear mind and tell yourself that the market is always there tomorrow. The thing about big losses is you can have a really bad day today, and then tomorrow you just never know what kind of opportunity the market's going to bring. You could wake up the next morning and the gap scanner is on fire and there's just tons of movers going on and just tons of opportunity there. But if you're not in the right mindset and you're still dwelling on that loss from the prior day, then how are you able to execute those trades and take advantage of that opportunity, right? You're probably not going to be able to execute properly, and you're probably just going to, take a loss again and, frustrate yourself even more. So it's really crucial. You got to let go of that loss, mentally. It's not easy. I know, trust me, but it's really, really, really important if you want to be a successful long-term trader. Because, even the most experienced traders that I know take big losses. It's not every day, it's not every week, it's not every month. They're occasional big losses, but they come. And the reason for that is we're human. We're not robots, we're not computers. As disciplined as we are, we will all have those days where we slip up. And as frustrating as it is, that's just part of being human and part of being a human retail trader. So the key here is being able to move forward from those days, not dwell on them, and be able to execute your strategy consistently moving forward with no emotional baggage. So we're going to talk about that, and I'll give you guys some tips that I use and kind of that help me move forward from my big losses or my bad days and allow me to execute my strategy consistently moving forward with, no hesitation, no fear, nothing. So let's get into some tips. So the very first thing I tell myself after a bad day is I'm not going to make it back in one day. I may not make it back in 2 days or 3 days. What I tell myself is I'm not going to try to make this money back. All I'm going to do is focus on trading my edge consistently moving forward, and the loss will recoup itself. Now, this is so crucial because most people or most traders, after a big loss, what's the initial reaction? I got to make it all back, right? So they'll pile on, triple the size, they'll go in full margin, they'll do whatever it takes. They'll take trades that may not even match their system or their strategy. And, they look for that next best thing that can make them their money back. And what that does, it just leads to a downhill spiral where you just lose more and more money. And that's why you often see traders who take a big loss and then they go on a downward slope where they'll take, loss after loss after loss. It's not because they're bad traders, but it's because they're letting that loss influence their mentality, and all they're thinking about is making that money back. And that is the number one deadliest sin as a trader. So it's really crucial, and it's really important for me as a trader to make sure after a big loss or a bad red day, I tell myself, okay, look, I'm not going to make this back in one day. It's pretty highly unlikely, and I'm not going to try to. All I'm going to do is wait for opportunity in the market, as I always do, and execute it as best as I can when I see a trade. And this is the absolute best mentality you can have after a big loss. And if you really stick to this mentality, I assure you that big loss will erase itself in a matter of no time. So another tip I can give you guys is try to remind yourself of the bigger picture here. As traders, one day does not really make or break us. Even if it's a really bad day, you got to think of the remaining 250 plus days of the year and really focus on that longevity and that bigger picture mindset. There's many traders who have really good days, but they're not profitable over the long run. And vice versa, there's traders who have terrible days, but they're very profitable over the long run. And that's because they have that bigger picture mindset, and they're not letting a good day or a bad day, influence their trading moving forward. They're brushing it off, and they're just, focusing on their strategy and trading it consistently, managing their risk as they normally should, and moving forward. But the traders who destroy themselves are the ones who have a very short-term mindset. So they're very focused on the now and what are my results today versus what are my results going to be in the next 3 months or 6 months or 1 year. And that's how you really have to think as a long-term successful trader. If you want to be doing this for a living, you really have to have that bigger picture mentality, and that's really going to help you move forward from those bad days and also help you not get too cocky from those good days. So another thing I always tell traders is that in this job, you have to have a very short-term memory. If you think about someone with short-term memory loss, they would actually make fantastic traders. Why? Because they're not really focused on what happened yesterday or the day before. All they're really focused on is the present, trading what's in front of them and what they're seeing. And they have no emotional baggage because there's nothing in the past that's holding them back. And if you think about it, the best traders are successful because this is the way they think. It's not because they're perfect. They make mistakes too, but they're able to take a loss and move forward from it and not dwell on it. And that's the key mindset you need to have, and that's the mindset you really need to develop if you want to be a successful long-term trader. Otherwise, one bad day can just ruin your entire week or entire month or even your entire year of trading if you let it. So really take these tips to heart, guys. Really try to apply them and really try to focus on that bigger picture and have that short-term memory as a trader. As bad as the loss may seem in the moment, if you step back and give yourself some time to breathe and just, absorb it, it's really not as bad as it looks, and you can probably recover it within a week or a month or however long it takes. Doesn't really matter. As long as it's recoverable and you can stay in the game, that's all that matters. So don't let the big losses get you down, and don't think there are traders out there who never take big losses. Believe me, there are. They may not tell you about it, but trust me, there are a ton of them that do. And, whether you're new or experienced, like I said, it doesn't matter. What matters is, we're human and we are susceptible to emotional errors in trading. And just don't beat yourself up over these days. Just take a step back and remind yourself that the market is always there tomorrow and that there's new opportunities every single day for you to capitalize on if you have that clear mindset and are able to execute your trades with no emotional baggage. So that's all for this video, guys. Really hope you found it helpful, and if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below and I'll be happy to answer them. All right, guys, cheers.